featherweight prospect, Kyle Driscoll. Thank you so much for coming on, man. You're sitting in Vegas doing some media, and man, how is it, man? Is it getting real now?
It's starting to feel real, you get those UFC wristbands and stuff. You're like, all right, it's getting close.
The first thing I wanted to jump into is the last time you were actually in competition was at the 2019 Nogi Worlds. You got second place. How was that experience, and what did you come out of that with?
Man, that shot my ground, my jiu-jitsu up to a complete new level. Just I believe I had 6 matches, and that blue belt bracket is a gauntlet. There's guys in there that are 3-stripe purple belts easily, but they're very competitive, so they're still there. First match, man, I'm with like 30 seconds left. I'm down by 2 points on a takedown to a wrestler. It's like, man, I didn't come here to lose to a wrestler. So I dug deep in that one. It was crazy, man. I learned a lot, and just the fluidity of my grappling now is a complete new world from that experience.
That's
Lost by
awesome to
2
hear.
points in the finals, but it is what it is.
Exactly, man. Exactly. It's a learning experience. Now, going through your career, you've ripped off 6 in a row. What has clicked for you? You haven't lost in 3 years. That's incredible.
Man, I knew I needed to find that major camp. I knew I needed the surroundings. Winning is contagious, right? And greatness, I believe, is contagious. So when you're around it, it's so much easier to attain. And so I knew I'd searched for a couple major camps, and then I lost that decision for LFA back in, I forget, 2017, 26, something like that. And right then I made that decision. I knew what I could become, and I knew the work I had to do, and making that leap. AKA changed everything, for sure. AKA changed. I haven't lost since I've been to AKA. To be real, a fight hasn't even been close. My last fight was a decision, and 2 of the 3 judges scored it at 30-25.
Wow.
So it was just changing my environment and the people around me.
All right, let's rewind to that transition from Oklahoma to California to AKA. You had $600 in your pocket. Everybody was telling you maybe you shouldn't go. Why did it make sense to you, man? Of course, it's the big camp and everything, but what else did push you to that area?
That dream that I was holding on to, since I remember having conversations with my dad, watching. There was a point in my life, I was like 13 years old, watching John Fitch fight, and there's Bob Cook, watching DC and Luke, and there's Hav and Bob Cook. I'm like, man, Dad, what if I fought for them one day? What if those were my coaches? And then things kind of started to line up. Things line up when you least expect it. In the face of adversity, coming off an L, and then I have an opportunity to go out to California. Family's telling me no, and I just held on tight to that dream I had as a kid. I was like, what if, shit, it could go wrong. Anything go wrong, but I was holding on to that what if. This thing could pan out, and it has.
Yeah. You're on the verge right now. Now, what is the connection to AKA? Did you just show up? Did you just rock up and just say, hey, I'm going to be on the pro team, or did you have someone there already?
No, I went to Jackson Wink, actually, and I tried that place out. Then I went to Elevation, tried them out. And then Kyle Crutchmer was finishing up his wrestling career at Oklahoma State. And he was back home. I was back home. We met up, had a few drinks, just kind of get to talking. He was checking out Alpha Male and AKA. He's like, man, I think I'm going to choose AKA. Just kind of joking around. I was like, let me know if you need a roommate, And sure enough, I got a call like, hey, you want to come? I remember I looked at my bank account. I was like, what's rent? It's like, yeah, I'll come. So that was my connection out. That was my foot in the door. And then just being married to the game, man, buying into my coaches and the people around me was the most important once I got here.
Who did you latch on to the quickest? Which coaches, because there's great coaches in that camp. Just, everybody's different.
Coming out here, man, at the time I wasn't shit, you know. I was 5-3 coming off an L, right? So I didn't get the most attention at first, but I knew I wouldn't. Like, why would I? So Ron Kessler is the jiu-jitsu now. He's taken over. He's coaching Cynthia. He's our top MMA coach, and he took to me real quick, and we just built this huge relationship. And then it was a little into that. I think I had won like 2 fights, maybe 2 or 3. And Coach Hov gave me his little squint and was like, let's start working. And I was like, that little kid me, I was like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
And then, man, from that, I believe I moved out here in September, and that was in November. Maybe a little later when Coach Hov made that decision, and then we clicked. It was like, he's like a grandfather to me now. There was a point where I didn't have a car, I didn't have anything, so I was bumming at AK all day. What can I do to help? Bored, do another training. So Coach Hov was big, and DC was big because I was helping with the wrestling, and coming out with Kyle, I was just a part of the wrestling program, and DC's very hands-on with like showing the next generation what it takes, what got him there, and I mean, everyone has a good idea of who he is because he's very transparent in his commentary, and that's who he is day-to-day life. He's a genuine giving guy. And so those 3 were my quick latch-ons,
Definitely. I wanted to go all the way back to 2016. Your pro debut, Legacy 54, man. You started off with a loss. And, in this sport, this is the hardest sport in the world. I don't care what anybody says. The training, the physical toll that it takes, it's hard, man. So it's easy to quit, and get a job at a desk or, just somewhere. What pulled you through? Was it just the dream of just becoming somebody in this sport?
Yeah, the dream and just knowing my potential. I knew what I was capable of. Back then I was the product of, my coach was just a yes man, right? And I was just like, I think I was 20 or 21, and he was small town Oklahoma, man. Hey, let's go pro. Let's turn pro. All I got's a double leg at the time, right? Like, I might be able to grapple a little bit. And then I fought a 5-0 dude, like, with decent brown belt in jiu-jitsu, some decent Muay Thai, and I got armbarred, And then, I mean, that was to this day, the most humbling day of my life. You talk about hitting the lowest of lows. Like, I think I'm the man. Now I'm 0-1. And holding on to that dream. But like I said, when you face that adversity and you look adversity in the eyes and you're like, no, like, I'm holding on to this. Like, I will prevail. I'm going to come through this on the other side. I think it made me stronger, and I think a lot of that has to do with why I'm here. Like, the L's are done, I took my lessons, and I made my proper adjustments in life, and I'm here. Now I'm here, I got my shot.
All right. Adversity, it comes all the time. And this year, man, it's just everybody has adversity with the pandemic hitting in March. What was your situation with the training and just living in California?
Man, it's been strict up there in Northern California. They got everything locked down, but I'm fortunate. Another person like that I built a great relationship with in the past 3 years being AK is Josh Thompson. And AK was like, they kind of had a target on their back. I think the political people were looking at him like, all right, we can target them, we'll make an example out of them. But Josh had his gym down the street, and he kept his gym open for me. And so when the pandemic started in like February, I reached out to him. We had a little conversation, and it was every day. I was in his gym doing bag work and jiu-jitsu in the morning, and then we met every single day at 4:30. And just, I mean, a mind like Josh Thompson, it's just one-on-one. Romero Cotton was with us, but he had to go back home to his baby. He has a baby girl. So, I mean, I think from March until last week, I've been working with Josh 5 days a week. And then AK opened back up. a little, and my buddy Salim got a fight for Bellator, so I was going in and sparring him. So it's actually been pretty good. Josh, I can't thank him enough, for keeping his doors open for me and really running a risk. But he knew that it was kind of a short notice situation for me, just having to stay ready. So he didn't have to do that, but I don't think I would be this prepared if it wasn't for him. And I don't think I could be more prepared than I am.
Man, these relationships that you build throughout the years, man, they always come back and help you out in some way. Now, you got this opportunity coming up. You've been training for it. Dinis Paiva. What is your breakdown of him and his style?
He's a southpaw counter boxer. He likes to do that high guard and wants you to roll your punches down. He believes in his left hand a lot, but my take on him, man, is I just go put a MMA fight on him. He's going to drown in deep waters. His easiest route to success is me going out and boxing with him. But, I'm a smarter fighter than that. We're in the game of mixed martial arts. So I hope he was training MMA, because we got an MMA fight coming.
Have you
But
been
he's
watching?
good, man. I watched a little film. At first I always watch like the initial film right when I get the fight, and I'm a hater. I'm like, like I'm gonna beat this guy up. Then I always come back like 2 or 3 days later, and I with my watchful eye, I analyze. I talk to my people. We break it down. I'll take some notes. What are our trigger points? Where does he bite? What are his tendencies? And we found some tendencies in him that, I think we're going to be able to capitalize on. But he's here for a reason. He throws hard. He believes in what he throws. And, but like I said, we got next generation at AK, and I'm just going to come display that next generation of mixed martial arts, the full package. It's not a boxer, not wrestling. It's boxing into wrestling, into a clinch, back into wrestling, back into boxing, kicking. Now we're wrestling again, clinching. Like, this is complete mixed martial arts, and there's a new generation coming up, and I'm the front end of it.
Have you been watching the Contender series and seeing like what Dana is looking for?
I don't really watch what he's looking for necessarily, because it seems to vary week by week sometimes. But I do watch, and I work with a sports psychologist, and I'm big on visualization and putting myself in the scenario. So I pay attention to the things outside of it. Like, how quiet is it in there? Okay, there's the walk. What is it like? Right. So I just kind of watch the environment, see what that's looking like. And then, because I know if I go perform what I'm capable of doing, I'll leave there with a contract. So I'm not too worked up on what he's looking for. I believe I'm what he's looking for, and he'll know it.
All right. So what do you think? What type of performance do you feel like you're going to have to get that contract?
I just go in there and break his will. It's going to be, I'm not going to go in there and put this crazy amount of pressure on myself. Like, we got to finish. No, I'm going to stay calculated. I'm going to stay calm. It's going to come. The openings will be there, and he'll break. I just break his will to compete, break his will to be in that cage. And, there comes a point in the fight where you can feel people break. And it's just, a lot of times they give up submissions. That's an easy way out when you're broke. So I'm going to make them quit, whatever it takes, wherever the fight goes. I'm extremely confident in my abilities and my skill set. So I don't know if he breaks and I get the TKO, if he breaks and gives me his neck, if he dips into a kick, they're all coming.
It's mixed martial arts, right?
It's mixed martial arts.
What does it feel like when you broke your opponent? Like, I will never feel that, but can you describe that in words?
Hard to put into words. It's a liberating feeling, man. It's like some modern day gladiator shit. Like, fortunately, there's a third party in here to save your life, Yeah. And really, it was when I started looking at it at that perspective, it was like, I haven't lost in 3 years, because that's kind of what I go in there with, right? One of us is leaving, the other's in there dead. And when I go into AKA, change that mentality, because that's how the sparring room is. It's a war zone in that cage room at AKA. And so I just brought that to the cage, and I mean, you can't really put into words, but when you feel the end is near, it's oh yes.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course. All right, one last thing. There's many different types of mentalities, right, that fighters have or individuals have in the sport. Would you feel you're more of a martial artist or a prize fighter?
Martial artist, but I don't know, man. It's the entertainment industry, but I'm not getting caught up in all that. Like, I'm not gonna get lost in that and not be who I am. I live and I'm about hard work and dedication, right? You show up, you're early, you work your ass off, keep your mouth shut, and you stay and you do extra, and you show up every day. You don't look for handouts, and that's what's got me here, and that's what's going to excel me forward. So I believe I'm a martial artist, but I'm also a performer. So I think Tuesday night I'm going to get to show the world, like, I'm something special. I know I am. The people around me know I am, and you'll see a martial artist prize fighter.
All right, all right. Well, like you said, Tuesday, September 15th, Contender Series, Las Vegas. Kyle, I appreciate the time, man. Good luck on the fight.
Appreciate you, man. I really do. Appreciate you having me on. I like the platform to express myself a little bit. It means a lot for us fighters. We only get a certain amount of these, so I appreciate you.